Welcome or welcome back to Perfectly Imperfect Furniture. Today I am going to show you a makeover on this beautiful tall boy that I found at my thrift store for only $60. And I know it appears to be in great condition, but there were some issues. Specifically on the top, there were some scratches, and then there was also a really big gouge on the one side. There was also an area on the bottom that I'll show you later that I had to do some wood filling on. I really was not sure what I wanted to do with this piece, and luckily that decision was made for me. I was showing this piece in my Instagram stories one day, and I had a client reach out and said that she wanted this dresser for her son's room, and they wanted it painted in a shade of navy blue. I told her that I thought that I really wanted to keep that detail on the top drawer. It was just very unique. And I also told her that I would suggest keeping the original hardware and possibly keeping the base wood as well. And she agreed with all of those things, and we went from there. The first thing that I needed to address is this big gouge in the top. Unfortunately, because it is so deep, it really needs to be filled with something good and strong. So in this case, I used Bondo. This is an all-purpose Bondo. It's a two-part system where you mix the contents of the can with some of the cream hardener. And you do have to work relatively quickly with this product as it does harden very fast. So you mix the two parts together like I'm doing here. Clearly, I'm down to the bottom of my hardener portion of it, but I'm just mixing it together here until you get one consistent color. The hardener part was blue and the other part was gray, so I'm just mixing it together until I get one consistent color. Because I am trying to work quickly, I just grabbed my plastic spoon that I was using to mix it and kind of globbed this on over those areas. And then I will come back in and smooth it out. And this is using the Bondo spreading tool. And you can get these at your local hardware stores, wherever you buy your Bondo. Typically it is in the automotive section at your hardware stores, and these are on Amazon as well. So I'm just kind of smoothing it out and then adding a little bit more, smoothing it out again, then I'll let that do its thing. Now here's that area on the base that I told you about that's going to need some wood filler. And for this part, since it's not quite as deep, I am using my favorite wood filler, which is called Famo Wood. I will link this for you on Amazon. And with this one, I can just use my fingers to apply it and then smooth it out. I'll come back later once that's set up and sand it smooth. Here's a closer look at that top drawer. And I just love that rattan detail. So like I told my client, I think it would be very cool to keep that part of it. But the rest, or at least most of it, will be painted in the color that she chose. So the first thing that I'm going to do to prep this for paint is to give it a good scuff sanding. I'm using 220 grit sandpaper here, and I am doing this part by hand because of the detailed parts. If I put my orbital sander to it, it really wouldn't get into the grooves that I need to get into. I will use my orbital sander on the body of the dresser, but for the drawers, I am doing this by hand. Now, scuff sanding is a way to prep your piece for paint for better adherence. You are just kind of scuffing off the surface layer of whatever finish is on there. And like I said, that will help aid in the adherence of your paint. Once all of the drawers were scuff sanded, then I gave them a good cleaning. I'm using my favorite cleaning product. This is called Anvil by Mélange. It's a cleaner and degreaser in one. It's a non-foaming, non-soapy formula, so it doesn't leave behind any sort of soapy residue. If it did, or if you use a cleaner that does, you'll want to make sure to come back in with just clean, clear water to remove that soapy residue before you prime or paint your piece. In this case, I don't have to because Anvil does not have that soapy residue, and that's one of the reasons why it is my favorite cleaner. I will make sure to link this for you guys in the description, and this, along with any of the Mélange products that I use, you can use my code JEN10 for 10% off your orders. Now it's time to tape off the areas of the top drawer that I'm not going to paint. I'll also tape off the sides of the drawers, and don't forget about putting some tape on the inside of the drawers where the hardware holes are. Otherwise, your paint can leak through and mess up your drawers. So don't forget that part. Let's go back to that Bondo repair that I had to make. Here's what it looks like when it's completely dry. It does not take a long time to dry and harden at all. And then here's what it looks like after I sanded it smooth. You can see how nicely it fills in those areas. I did go over top of this with my wood filler, just my Famo wood, to make sure that that area is completely flush and smooth with the dresser, so that once it is painted, you will not be able to see any evidence of that repair. And what you see me doing here is scuff sanding the body of the piece. I am using my Festool sanding system. It's an orbital sander that is attached to a dust extractor. So it allows me to do this right inside my house without any dust. I'm using 220 grit sandpaper. And again, this is just scuff sanding, but I'm also sanding down that area on the side of the bottom where I did have to do the wood filling repair. And again, you guys, this is a scuff sanding. You don't have to sand it down to bare wood before you paint. You just want to kind of remove that top layer of finish, and it will help in the adherence of your paint. After the scuff sanding was done, I also gave this a good cleaning both inside and out, and then it was time for paint. Again, you guys, the color that my client chose is Vagabond Blue by Mélange. It is a beautiful, rich, deep, dark, moody, navy blue, almost black. It is one of my favorite colors by Mélange. I've used it several times, and it's a highly requested color on my custom pieces as well. Definitely a must try. I hand brush all of my pieces. I'm using the Rachel brush by Mélange. It's the premium oval brush, and it's so good. I love the grip. It holds the perfect amount of paint. It goes on so nice and smooth. This paint is self-leveling, meaning you won't see any brush strokes, and the primer and top coat are built in. So I did not have to prime this piece, and I won't have to top coat it. It is that simple. Now, for the hardware, we decided we loved the original hardware, and I cleaned it up, and it didn't clean up as well as I had hoped, and it was a little bit too shiny and gold, so I sprayed it with my favorite Rustic Mist by Rust-Oleum. Now, here is what the dresser looks like now. It turned out so incredibly beautiful. I love the contrast of that top drawer and the bottom, the legs and the base with Vagabond blue. So classic, so timeless. The hardware looks absolutely perfect, and I could not love it more. My client was blown away and was so happy with the result. Look at that beautiful sheen. It's the perfect finish. It's not glossy, it's not matte. It's just so good. Again, this is Vagabond Blue by Mélange. And as always, you can use my code JEN10 for 10% off your Mélange orders. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Make sure to follow along for more furniture makeovers, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram as well.